Today we're going to talk about the best matte eyeshadows for mature eyes. So let's talk about mature eyes first. And let's talk about some of the problems that we have and some of the things that we may want to solve with our eyeshadow. The first is that obviously our lid shape changes a little bit, and also the skin changes. We get a little bit of creping, a little bit of drooping, and we have product that oftentimes settles into fine lines and wrinkles. And that makes it sort of difficult to figure out like what type of eyeshadow is going to work best and how to best apply it so that it looks the best. So I thought we'd dive in and talk about some brands that are really great, and also talk about some application techniques that might help as you do your mature eyes. One thing I'd like to get out of the way is that there are no rules. And so you do not have to wear all matte eyeshadows. You do not have to wear all cream eyeshadows. You can mix them together. You can experiment, and you can have a lot of fun with eyeshadows. So here we go. The very first one that I have on my list is the Naked Basics, and this is by Urban Decay. It is a great basic eyeshadow palette. This has everything you need to make a look. It also can work with all skin types and skin tones. You have a dark color that you can use as an eyeliner. You can also use it to deepen up some of the colors. And it also has a very light color and a yellow, and those can also be used to blend out color. The thing I like about this particular palette is how nicely the products blend. And I found that in using a super soft brush, you can easily get a fantastic look. The next palette that I absolutely love, this one you can tell it's loved, it's got a lot of little marks on it, is the Tartelette palette. This one is another great one. It has colors that are warm and neutral and cool. You can create a variety of looks with it, and the consistency of the powders and the whole application technique, this is foolproof. You can easily get a wonderful look from this palette. And again, it has the dark shades, it has the really light shades that you can use to blend. You can mix and match, or you can create a look just going horizontally across and just really doing, a look that is curated by a makeup artist. The other thing I really love about this look, or this palette, is that you can really play up your eye colors with this. The yellows and this row right here are great for people with blue eyes. My daughter also wears some of the colors to the outer edge with her brown eyes. So you can really get a lot of beautiful looks with this. And this palette I've had for several years. It's one that when I'm not sure what I want to do with my makeup and I want to play a little bit, it's definitely one that I get out. If you are enjoying a smaller palette, you're a minimalist, you may love this little palette from Glow. It is very similar to the Naked Basics by Urban Decay, but you have 4 options, and they're kind of a little more neutral in tone, so you can really, I think it looks good on all eye types. But the nice thing about a small palette like this is you don't have to worry. You can create a great look day after day, and it's easy to pack. It's just a really good minimal palette. The final palette that I love, and I think is a really important one if you are a makeup insta, like if you love makeup and you love luxury makeup, the Tom Ford palettes are gorgeous. This one is a good basic. It has the brown shades just like most of the other ones that I've showed you. It has a couple of applicators here that work really great for placement, blending, etc. Now naturally using a brush is really kind of the way that I prefer to apply it, but I do use the little blender to kind of create an eyeliner look with it. And that's another thing that I think is really great for mature women, is to use your darkest shade as an eyeliner and to blend it out softly so that you get a nice soft diffused look. So those are four very nice eyeshadow selections. Apply the basic color to the orbital bone of your eyelid here. I like to stop at the edge of my eyelashes, and I just like to blend and lift at the outer edge. This is great if you have a little bit of drooping, and it's a great way to start. So to start a look, for example, if you were going to use this glow palette, I would start with either this shade or this shade in the orbital bone area. I would then use the light shade on the brow bone and the movable part of the lid. And then finally, I would use the dark shade to the outer edge and draw upward, and then into the orbital bone a little bit, and then at the lower edge of the eyelashes. And then just gently blend it in with a natural blending brush. That way you'll get that beautiful kind of lifted look, and it is a great basic eye look, great for every day. And then if you want to boost it up a little bit, you can add a little more of the dark shade here and just really kind of wing it up a lot more and really deepen it into the bone here, and you'll get that very, very dramatic look. Now you can blend all of these things out and make them look really natural as well. And that is one of the great things about wearing matte eyeshadow, is that you can blend it beautifully in. And if you blend it out and diffuse it, you can get a really, really beautiful look. Now, there are a couple of tips that I'd like to give you as far as helping the eyeshadow to not fall into cracks and crevices. And the first thing that I would suggest to you is that you gently moisturize. Now, you don't want to use too much, but you don't want to use too little, that just right amount. And so what I like to do is apply my moisturizer, and then I take a napkin or a tissue and I blot off the excess. And that helps to prepare the eye. I also give it a few minutes to settle into my eye area and moisturize and plump it before I go about applying makeup. Now, the next thing I like to do with my eyeshadow is to apply a primer. And sometimes I use either a dedicated primer. Sometimes I use the primer that I'm using on the rest of my face. And sometimes I use just concealer and just apply concealer. Now, the benefit of doing concealer is that if you have discoloration on your lids like I do, then you can easily kind of get rid of that discoloration, but you also run the risk of a little more settling into lines and wrinkles. So what I like to do before I get started too far down the road is I gently pat in all of the concealer and all of the product, and I gently pull the lid a little bit and pat out anything that has settled into the lines and wrinkles. And I found that by doing that a couple of times throughout my eyeshadow and my concealer application, that minimizes all of the stuff that can easily fall into the lines and wrinkles. When you go about using powder to set, I press it in with a soft brush, and then once again I go and I open the creasing and just gently press it out. That way you get a really nice application. You may have to check on it a couple of times during the day, but for the most part, that whole strategy works beautifully. And I hope that this has helped you up your eyeshadow game and maybe fall in love with matte eyeshadows.